Hello, is that you?
Good morning, Neil. Frank Guinta.
I knew it was you. I took a wild guess. All right. Well, I don't know. I guess I can call you Congressman. It was the last office you held, but you want to hold the office again. So, and I'm on your side. But have you got anything to tell us that'll really fire us up?
Yes, I do. Jack is in his first playoff game for football tomorrow morning.
Really? Now, what grade is he in?
Jack is in fourth grade, and he is approaching his 10th birthday in November. So he's hoping for a Guinta victory, and then 2 weeks later, a big birthday for his 10th year. Wow.
Well, knowing his father's size, does he play on the line?
Actually, he's tall but thin, so they have him playing actually linebacker on defense and then wide receiver on offense.
Sounds good. You get to chase the quarterback around, and then you try to catch a pass.
Exactly.
I love it.
But campaign-related, there was a poll that came out this week that has us up 10 points. So that should fire up Laconia, but it also says that, one of those polls is just a snapshot in time. So we've got to continue to work hard to make sure we bring this home and change New Hampshire and change America. But, we look like we're in good shape. I think people are starting to realize, Neil, that we've just got to change the leadership in this country. Every week there's frustration with the decisions that this White House is making and that Democrats are making, and we need real people with leadership and skills and solutions to improve our country. So, while I look at that poll and I'm excited about it, the poll that matters is on Election Day. So we hope that people will come out and support Guinta for Congress and take that first step to changing the state and changing the nation.
Well, I need you to save the nation. I've said this before, but I personally need you to save it, and other Republicans from New Hampshire to save it for my 11 grandchildren. It's about them now. I'm getting up there. I'm still mobile, but I don't feel bad. But what about the next generation, and then about my next generation, the grandchildren?
Mm. Neil, this is the first time, and I think since World War II, that people feel like their kids and their grandkids don't have the same opportunity that they had, and because of what's going on in our country. And look, my folks didn't go to college. I was the first in my family to go to college, to go to graduate school, to run for office, and our family is very proud of that. And it's because of a hard work ethic and the upward mobility that the American dream provides for every individual. And in this economy, people just don't feel like that's a real opportunity. And that's why I'm running, to change that for the current and next generation of America. And I will make the promise to you and to your grandchildren that should I be elected, I will do everything I possibly can to improve the economic conditions in this country, to limit the federal government's authority over individuals and states, to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, to finally, once and for all, seal the border and deal with the illegal immigration issue in this country, to make us energy independent, and to try to ensure that we thrive as a nation. And there are a whole host of things that we can do to make that a reality. And I think, should I be sworn in January, the first thing we'll start to do, Neil, is reform the tax code, file repeal legislation and replace legislation for the Affordable Care Act, take a look at establishing a sunset provision for legislation so we can reduce the size and scope of government, and once and for all try to get things like the Keystone Pipeline passed, and get the shale gas in Pennsylvania and New York to New England so we can have cheaper electric rates and energy rates here in America, in New Hampshire. But these are all basic logical solutions, Neil, that just are not being implemented by Congresswoman Carol Shea Porter. And I think, average families, middle-class families, are feeling the pain as a result of the stagnation that we're going through in this country.
It's interesting you just said feel their pain. Bill Clinton used to say, I feel your pain. Well, the folks in the White House now, they can't say that. I have never thought my America would house two people who are just so full of themselves and just looking for that power. They don't want to earn the power. They're just going to demand it. You're going around the Constitution for starters, and Carol Shea Porter and Custer and Jeanne Shaheen, they don't know what the Constitution is anymore because they don't care. Anybody who supported Barack Hussein Obama 99 or 100% of the time, we can't take it anymore.
Yeah, as I travel the district, Neil, I hear from so many people that just feel the same way you do. This past week we kicked off a kitchen table tour where I am meeting with people around our kitchen table. We had our first event last week, and we've got events every week going into the election. And we're actually trying to talk to undeclared voters and undecided voters. Mm-hmm. And just getting a sense of, tell me what's on your mind. Because it's important as you run for Congress and serve in Congress to listen to your prospective constituents and try to address their needs. And it's stunning what people are telling me, but essentially it's, I don't feel good about the economy. I'm concerned about my kids' future. I'm concerned about my ability as a parent to pay for college for my kids. I'm concerned about the debt and deficit of the country. I'm concerned about access to health care and the increasing costs of health care. Obviously, international issues are on the forefront based on what's going on in Iraq and Syria and the impact that ISIS is having. These are real issues, Neil. And these are issues that people are concerned about, and then you just keep having challenges that make you wonder who's leading the country, between the Ebola virus and the Secret Service mishap with an individual getting into the White House. I mean, those things, fair or unfair, make people question the leadership of the president. And that's on top of things like Lois Lerner and the IRS coming after individuals and groups. This is after the NSA and the NSA spying on Americans. I mean, one thing after another just creates this lack of trust in government and lack of faith in presidential leadership. So it is imperative that we come out on November 4th and make a change and vote for people like myself, Guinta for Congress, and people like myself will, take the tough votes, provide leadership where necessary, try to change make legislative changes to things that people are asking for. And, Neil, I've taken the tough votes as a mayor, as a congressman, and I'll do it again because I care so much about this country, and I want to make sure we go in the right direction.
Well, there's so many things that this administration, it's gotten to the point, you talk about change, or he did, Obama. Oh, he's doing everything he can to change America, doesn't live by the rule of law anymore, doesn't live by the U.S. Constitution, Bill of Rights. I don't know what he's doing, but he has to be slowed down, and the only way we can do that is to make sure both the Congress and the Senate are controlled by the Republicans in January. It's the only way to stop him.
Neil, this is an interesting point. And I was talking to a group of voters last night about this. So the House of Representatives this year have passed 285 bills. Almost all of them, 90%, have been passed bipartisanly. Now, I stress that point because when you turn the TV on at night and you hear commentators talk about gridlock in Washington. People say, well, there's gridlock in Congress. Now, you know, Neil, that Congress is the House and the Senate, but most people think of Congress as the House. Well, the House of Representatives has passed 285 bills, 90% bipartisanly. The Senate, on the other hand, run by Harry Reid, has taken 21 votes. So when you talk about gridlock, it's Harry Reid who's protecting the president and protecting endangered Senate Democrats who are up for re-election, protecting them from taking any tough, difficult votes to move this country in the right direction. And, you know, the House of Representatives is doing its work, and it's, by and large, doing it in a bipartisan fashion. And I think, Neil, that's what people want. They want to see action. You know, you have served. I've served as a mayor. I was as a Republican mayor. I was in the super minority, but we were able to get the first tax cut passed in a decade in the city of Manchester. We took crime on, and I was a tough on crime mayor, and the violent crime rate decreased almost 20%. After we put new strategies in place, we were able to make the agencies in the city of Manchester more accountable to the taxpayers and more effective and efficient. We were able to reduce the overall number of city employees through attrition, not by laying people off. I mean, caring about the taxpayer and respecting the taxpayer is something that I think, you know, people like Carol Street Porter don't understand and don't appreciate. And it's about time that we elect people again who care about the dollars that they spend, because the dollars they spend are not Washington's. They're the American people's dollars, and we've got to, you know, find that willingness amongst good people to be respectful of those tax dollars, to spend less of those tax dollars, to actually balance our budget and start to reduce our long-term debt, and face these challenges head on that we have as a nation, and get our country moving in the right direction.
Well, all right, Congressman. You're on the coast, then you have to get back to Manchester?
Yeah, well, I'm in Manchester now, and Colby's got a big soccer game in about half an hour.
Oh, okay.
So, we're going there, and then we're going door knocking in Manchester, then I'm going to the seacoast, to Dover and to Exeter, and then I'm coming back. So we've got a full, great day planned. I'm looking forward to it today, and then tomorrow, Jack's big first playoff game, and then I'm taking the family apple picking, and then I'm going out to Rochester for some events as well. Rochester and Rockingham County for additional events tomorrow.
Wow. Well, it's so Colby is your daughter.
Yes.
And she's playing soccer.
She's playing soccer. She's 11, and she's doing very, very well. And then Jack, who's 9, is the football player. Oh, and then I'll tell you one other thing, Neil. Colby took on cross country this year, so her meet. She's got to run 2.1 miles, which not all of us can do. But at age 11, she's doing it.
I couldn't walk it. Maybe they ought to have a special race for me.
We'll create one for you.
You know, in today's world, they would have to say I won because I'd be the only one there, because PC, you know, you can't take the old guy and say, he couldn't even walk it. Oh, no, I'll sue you. Well, Congressman, I hope we'll see you. What are we down to, 5 or 6 weeks?
Yeah, we're 5 weeks out, and not taking anything for granted, working hard and making sure we earn every vote. Well,
as Ray Burton used to say, every time I run as if I'm 4 votes behind.
And that's the way we're doing this. That's the way it should be done in New Hampshire. You know, it's retail politics and meeting with voters and making sure you communicate to everybody that, you know, how you want to try to help them. And that's what we're doing, and I hope to be honored to earn that support on November 4th.
All right. Well, I'll have a tough question for you next time. Not unless you've got 2 minutes.
Sure, I'll take the question.
John Boehner. Some of us are wondering, you know, he's ready to punish, from what I'm reading, punish those who aren't going to make him speaker again or have any thoughts of going up against him. I know the politics of that. I understand it from just being in the New Hampshire House. On the other hand, would he please get on the page with the Republicans?
Yeah, this is what I remind people of this story. In 2010, before I decided to run for Congress, I traveled down to Washington and meet with a number of congressmen, and I guess I was being quote unquote recruited. And one of the people I met with was John Boehner, who was then the minority leader. And I'll put it in this context. When I met with him, he was asking me to run, and others were asking me to run. And I said, look, if I make this decision to run, I'll talk to my wife and my family about it. But I looked John Boehner in the eye, and I said, I'm not always going to be with you on votes. I'm going to put New Hampshire first, and you need to know that I'm an independent-minded person, and that I vote for New Hampshire. And Neil, and he understood that, appreciated it, and from day one, we always had an understanding because I communicated to him that from the beginning. And I think it's important, when I served in the state legislature, I learned the very simple rule that your word is your bond. And anyone who goes through our state legislature understands that your word is your bond. So I have no problem voting against leadership, voting against John Boehner when I think it's in the best interest of New Hampshire. And I've always had a good relationship with leadership because of that, because they know where I stand. So I will continue to put that philosophy first. That it's always New Hampshire that I think about. And the last vote that I took, Neil, as a member of Congress in the 112th Congress, was on tax policy. And I still remember when John Boehner called me and said, Frank, I need your vote. And it was, I understand why good Republicans voted in favor of that bill. The individual tax rates were expiring. And the president, if you recall, wanted to add a seventh tax rate and increase taxes on many Americans. And I said no. I voted no because I think we can do better. I think we can improve the code by reducing the tax rates and reducing the levels that people pay on taxes. And I'll continue to keep, that approach, should I serve.
Well, yes, I would start with immigration, telling him one guy in New Hampshire says no to immigration, illegal. Don't make them whole. Where they bring disease, after I'm through with this interview, I'm going to talk about somebody right here in Laconia. I can't pronounce their names, husband and wife, I guess. She has 2 children, 1 on the way. They can't speak English, yet they were running a drug business out of their apartment that's subsidized by the taxpayers of America.
Well, Neil, as a mayor, as a former mayor, I went through the challenges of trying to fight the sale of illegal drugs, and the violent crime rates in cities are directly attached to drug sales, and this is something that's very near and dear to my heart and other mayors across New Hampshire and the mayor of Laconia. Trying to deal with this issue is not an easy thing, but you've got to be forceful. And this is where I can bring experience, not just as a former business owner and state and federal legislator, but as a mayor. Mayors understand, these challenging issues that we face as communities. And that's why I think it's important to send, mayors to Washington, because as a former mayor, you have a very different perspective on the legislative requirements that you have and the legislative responsibilities you have. So I understand what you're going through in Laconia. I had to deal with it in Manchester, and I'll work with mayors across New Hampshire as a federal legislator to make sure that we're working in concert together to eradicate those illegal drug sales and things of that nature, so we can make our communities safer.
Okay, I hope you do that. And by the way, do not forget to say hello to the closest member. How do I put this? My closest friend in the Guinta family, other than you, Frank, is Morgan. I love that name. I love all your Jack, Colby, and Morgan.
I will give Morgan the best, and Colby and Jack, the two cheeses, will give him your best as well.
Okay. I'll talk to you soon, and good luck out there on the trail.
Thank you, Neil.
Oh, one more thing. Are you at the Franklin Pierce Law Center, what is it, Monday or Tuesday night?
I believe it's Tuesday night.
Yeah?
Let me quickly see if I can find it on the calendar.
Well, your fellow Garrett called me yesterday to find out if I and others would like to come down to Concord, that you could probably get about 30 people, or I don't know how they give out tickets or whatever. So I did send out an email to some folks with Garrett's email on it if they want to get back to him. But yeah, now is this a debate?
No. This is Tuesday night, October 7th.
Yeah.
It's an hour forum with New Hampshire Public Radio doing the interview. So it's just me as a candidate, but it's New Hampshire Public Radio doing the asking the questions. And then they invite an audience, and then they allow the campaign to invite a certain number of people as well to attend. So it'll be a mixed audience. The questions will be, all over the map, trying to, give people an opportunity to hear, my views on a whole host of issues.
All right. Well, it's a chance for some of your supporters in central New Hampshire at minimum to get on down to Concord there. Give Garrett a call or an email or something, say, I'd like to be one of the 30. And because we need to support you, plus I'm sure these questions are going to be quite interesting.
Hey, listen, I tell people I have NPR programs as my first preset in my car. I listen to all sorts of programs, and but it should be interesting to say the least.
All right, this time I will let you go, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great, Neil. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye. All right, Frank Guinta, running.